Hello, 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 and welcome to another episode of A Spiritual Remedy. My name is Sunshine Day, and I get to be your spiritual living coach. I am here to provide spiritual tools and loving support for your personal transformation. And what a grand and glorious morning it is. Wow, here we are on the 9th of May. And I know that many people in the world have been, well, at least here in the US, have been celebrating Mother's Day and the opportunity to create. My question yesterday was like, what have you birthed into the world? So whether you describe yourself as male or female or even non-binary, what have you birthed into this world? What have you brought into this existence and this human plane? That has been a benefit and a contribution to society and to the world. And so, for me, it's this show, it's this consciousness to bring uh, love, support, spiritual tools for personal transformation. What can I tell you too? This month, in the month of May, we're looking at mental health awareness. And so, of course, my topic for today is, are you a mental mess? Are you a mental mess? And, that is my question. Are you a mental mess? Are you mentally filled with clutter? There's plenty of TV shows around clutter and around, clearing up and getting things out of the way and actually living clean, simple lives, right? And as I think about, are you a mental mess? I think about, my myself. I think about my friends. I think about people in recovery in particular. People, everyday people like you and me who were not necessarily those people, meaning our kin folks, our brothers, our sisters, our friends, our fellows, um, who are experiencing mental health challenges. But if we are indeed a mental mess, we are indeed experiencing mental health challenges. Maybe not to the place that it's a clinical diagnosis, but definitely, clinical diagnosis, right? Hello, Paul. Thank you for watching. I, you know, I'm asking about if we're a mental mess, especially because in these times, whatever it is that we're entertaining is what's in our psyche. It's what's in our mental home, if you will, or as I think it was Janet Jackson who said, called it our mental garden. And so imagine for a moment that your mental garden is filled with weeds, and it might just be, is it a mental mess? Are you gardening? Are you taking care of your mental garden? And our mental garden has to be, and here's me, projecting onto you what I believe is what has to be for me, right? Because when I'm talking to you, I'm really talking to myself. Our mental garden has to be in order, in some type of order, some type of maintenance, some type of regular watering and nurturing and care, because that's the ticket. Like, are we caring for our mental health and wellness, whether we consider ourselves someone with a clinical diagnosis or someone who is just like a mental mess? So what do I consider a mental mess? And oh, by the way, from a mental mess, getting on the other side of that, then we have a message, and what is the message? The message, right? You add the AGE on that mess and you have a message. What is the message about being a mental mess? And how do we actually overcome being a mental mess? And so, what is a mental mess for me? For me, when I cannot focus on one particular thing at a time because there are so many other things jockeying for my attention, And if I have lack of focus and cannot focus on one thing and one thing only for any prescribed amount of time, I might be a mental mess. You might be a mental mess if you cannot focus on one thing at a time. You might be a mental mess if you go to sleep with this by your side and you wake up with it, if you get your news from it, if you get, everything from it, if it's kind of almost attached to your hand. You might be a mental mess. You might be a mental mess when you have projects and things to tend to, but you are so paralyzed and stymied by the thoughts in your head that do not allow you to move forward. You might be a mental mess. I might be a mental mess if I'm in that position. So the question is are you a mental mess? What are some of the other indicators of you're a mental mess? When you're speaking with someone and they're right there in front of you, but you want to be on your cell phone, or you are in the presence of someone and you are being distracted by other things. You might be a mental mess. And so for me, if I cannot give someone my full undivided attention, I need to just kind of maybe take a look at that. For me, I need to take a look at what is it about what I'm doing or how I'm moving in the world that I'm going to make an appointment or set an appointment with you and then be there with you, but be on my cell phone or be mentally checked out. What is it about me that I cannot say or will not say with some level of honesty? I just need you to know that I'm not fully present. Or I need to say that I've got a lot of things on my mind, right? If you're experiencing headaches, and if you're having trouble falling asleep, these may be signs that you are a mental mess. And I am not saying like a mental mess, in a derogatory fashion, as much as I'm talking about it today in a way that we can begin to look at putting some order in our lives so that our mental capacity actually has some order. I know that in the book Alcoholics Anonymous, when they're talking about addiction and dis-ease and they're talking about alcoholism, one of the things that is super important is to have some mental clarity. And that's what sobriety is. Sobriety, or being sober, is having a clear set or a clear mind, a clear mentality, right? A clear mental capacity. Hi, Kim. So good to have you with us this morning. A clear mental capacity. And so if we're not able to be sober, meaning having a clear mental state, because it is cluttered and it is filled with so many things, we have so much on our plate, are we making the best decisions for our lives? And actually, the book Alcoholics Anonymous talks about alcoholism and talks about the alcoholic, that there will come a time where he will have no mental defense against the first drink. And I don't know about you, but if you be like me, if you be like many others who are abstaining from drugs, alcohol, sex, shopping, stress and drama, right? Overeating, undereating, all of that, gambling and porn and all of that. If you're someone who's abstaining, if your mental capacity, if your mental house is not in order, there may come a time where you will have no mental defense against the first relapse. And so that's why it's important for me to talk about this today, especially under Mental Health Awareness Month, because a lot of times people think, thank you, Kim. She says, absolutely. Because a lot of times people think that Mental Health Awareness Month are for those folks who've been diagnosed with a clinical, diagnosis of, a depression or anxiety or something like that, when in fact there are so many of us that go undiagnosed and so many of us that are just living with this mental mess that can turn into a mental message, right? And so how do we declutter the brain? How do we declutter our mental capacity so that we are actually, instead of a full mind, that we are mindful? And that's the key, is to move from a full mind to being mindful. Yeah. To becoming mindful. And so, yesterday I was speaking in Seal Beach, California, and I said it this way. I don't think I've ever said it this way before, but you've heard me talk about the 3 S's that are going to be what my solution is for our mental mess. But I said, use the 3 S's so you don't become one, Ba-dum-bum. And the 3 S's are this: slow down. So slow down, be still, be silent. That in order to move from a full mind to being mindful, which is really about spaciousness, right? Making decisions for ourselves and choices for ourselves from spaciousness actually leads to great mental health, to great physical health, to great spiritual health, to great emotional health, compared to making choices and decisions from a full mind, from a mind full of clutter. And so the first step in slowing down is really truly like slowing down, like eliminating some things from our calendar and just taking the time to pause, yawn, slow down, stretch, yawn, because yawning gives oxygen to our brain. And the effects produced by oxygen to our brain are incredible. Slow down. The next one is to be still and just allow yourself to be still for just a few moments, minutes. Yawn again. And then move into the stillness of that yawn. And then be silent. Just be silent and allow yourself to be in the quietude, in the plenitude of quietude. And allow your mental clutter, the mental mess, to simply float away. Seeing those thoughts, that to-do list, as just clouds in the sky. Try this with me. This is a mindfulness moment as well. You might say to yourself in one of these yawns and stretches, when you slow down, be still and be silent, you might even just picture and say to yourself, I am the mountain. My mind is the sky. The thoughts are the clouds passing by. And just picture yourself as this mountain, this majestic mountain. You're the mountain. You're not your thoughts. You're not even the sky. Your mind is the sky. And the thoughts are the clouds passing by. So allow them to pass by. You might have the idea or the image in your mind that it's just a cloudy sky, because it is definitely a mess, definitely filled with clutter. So in those instances, just see how the wind easily and gently moves. Hey, Angie. Hi, Cynthia. Chintzia, welcome. How just allow yourself to see this gentle wind just moving those clouds along so that we're experiencing mental clarity. See, when we're a mental mess, we can no longer make great decisions for ourselves. And especially if you're a person who is in recovery, recovery, there are a lot of people who are recovering from their cell phones and recovering from watching the news. Everybody can recover from something. And when I'm talking about recovery as well, I'm also talking about recovering the truth of who you are, because who you are is not a mental mess. You might be experiencing a mental mess. You might be experiencing mind clutter. And you are at choice at each and every time, because who you are is the unrepeatable, unique, perfect, and divine way that life is showing up. And because you're at choice, because you get to make decisions over your life and about your life, you get to either choose being in that clutter or you choose to ask for help. That's why I'm here. I'm here to provide that loving support, some spiritual tools for your personal transformation. If you find that you're dealing with a lot of mental clutter, it's important and imperative that you begin some spiritual practices like a mindfulness practice, like a meditation practice, like a deepening in some prayer and some study, and recognizing that who you are is not some mere mortal, but that you are indeed a spiritual being having this human experience, and that you are at choice. You're at choice in this moment. You're at choice in each and every moment to say, no longer with the mental mess. My mental mess is now going to become my mental message, especially this month during mental health awareness, right? Where I've been bogged down by, this mental mess. But it becomes my message when I allow some clarity and I make the decision and make a choice to stand in the truth that who I am is whole, perfect, and complete. That is the truth about you. And you get to realize that, but we don't realize it while we're entertaining that, oh, I have restless leg syndrome, or, oh, I'm intolerant to this or to that, or, oh, I need medication for this or that or the other thing. Some of us really do need medication for certain things, but society normalizes illness and diseases so it can sell more, sell more, sell more. But what doctors are doing now, they're, instead of being physicians, they're joining the ranks of people like myself and people who are spiritual people, and they are joining the ranks of metaphysician, and now they're prescribing meditation instead of prescribing medication for the ills of humanity. This is something that 12-step programs, that spiritually based communities have been involved in for a long, long time. People who are living 100, 101, 105 years old, what they're asking and what we're recognizing is that people are using mindfulness practices and meditation practices to live longer, to heal the body temple using the mind. Instead of allowing the mind to be so cluttered and so filled with the ills and all the little minutia of the world. Folks are experiencing mental clarity. Folks are experiencing love. Folks are experiencing peace and joy. Folks are experiencing harmony. And if that is what you want to experience, then I'm going to invite you to send me an email. sunshine@sunshineday.com. sunshine@sunshineday.com, or go to my website, aspiritualremedy.com, and connect with me. I'm here. I'm local in Long Beach. We've got a spot called Vida Spiritual Learning Center. We're putting together some groups and classes and courses just for you so that you can experience some mental clarity, so that you can be rid of the mental mess and actually turn that mess into a message for others. That's right, Ananda. I love you so much. Indeedy. And so let me know how I might contribute to your life. Let me know how I might be a beneficial presence to you. If you find that you're a mental mess, let's turn that mess into a message and let's recover together. Until next week, know that you are loved and supported. I'll see you next week. Thanks for tuning in.